My name is John Coutrone. I'm the director of this place, the Jaffe Center for Book Arts. And my job description, I don't think anyone ever showed me my job description. All of us who work here, actually, it's just our jobs have evolved and based on strengths, probably. But any of us who works here will do anything from cleaning windows to setting up exhibitions or developing exhibitions. So, the exhibitions that we run, most often they are my ideas, but not always. Some of them, like we did an exhibition on graphic novels, that was the brainchild of one of our student assistants, Jonas McCaffrey. So I think all of us who work here wear many hats, and the fact that I'm the director just means that maybe I have a bigger hat. I don't know. There's just, I'm just sort of responsible for everything here. The book is called World Without End. Here's what we have when we open the box. Here is the book itself. That is the main focus of the project. And the hand paper making aspect is right here on the covers of the book. Julie made the paper for the book, for the covers. So it's handmade paper wrapped around boards. I think what makes artist books special is it's the format itself and this idea of artist working in a distinct format, in the book format. And they're giving us something that works on many levels. So, if there is text, the text will, if it's a really good artist book, I think, the text will inform the structure, will perhaps help the artist decide what materials go into the making of the book. So there's this really interesting dialogue going on in a really good artist book that is kind of between I almost hesitate to say the reader, the viewer, and the artist, and the writer, and and sometimes the writer and the artist are the same person. And sometimes there is no writer because there's no words. I think it's just a fascinating place for the book to be, and I think it's part of what makes an artist book so special. It's just a unique experience. And then the third aspect is the bookbinding. And this one operates on a page-by-page basis, but also it opens up into a full 360 degrees. And you get this pretty neat star pattern when you look at the cross-section. It comes out of traditions of bookmaking, which go back centuries, but hand paper making, letterpress printing, or other kinds of printing, bookbinding, these things have been practiced for centuries, and any or all of those traditions can go into a book, a contemporary book, and then again, sometimes it'll just be a book that's made on a Xerox machine and stapled. And so it doesn't even have to have those traditions, but it's still informed by them. And so yeah, definitely an amalgamation, and it's an interesting one too. There's so many possibilities. And this is where we begin to enter this realm of the artist book, is we'll end up with an object that will hopefully remind you of a globe. And if your book is called World Without End, this is a great way to show it. When the collection expanded and we opened the center, I knew for me at the time that was important, the idea of hands-on workshops. It's one thing to have a collection, and it's an amazing collection, but I think it's a whole another kettle of fish to have that collection inspire people. And I think that's where the magic really steps in, is when people are inspired to make books on their own. Crank, walk, paper out, crank it back. Okay, so we all have 3 holes punched in the book, and we're going to start sewing our book next. But I'd suggest, first of all, just stick your needle through the middle hole again, and just leave it in place there. And this will just help to line everything up again in case things got a little out of place. But we're not going to sew from there. We're going to actually take the needle out and sew from outside going into the middle hole.
So pass your needle through the middle hole, outside to in, and leave a good long tail there on the outside of thread.
I think that's the ideal situation, that the books in this collection inspire people who live here or people from all over the place. I mean, people come here from all over the world to take the workshops, to inspire them to do their best work and to try things they've never done before, like actually make paper from their old clothing or from plants, or to set metal type and print it, and that's always a pretty magical moment to see as well. That first sheet of paper that they pull out of the vat, or the first print that they roll off the press, or the first book that they actually finish constructing. You can see that glimmer in their eyes, and it doesn't happen with everyone who takes the workshops. I won't say that it's this magical thing that touches everyone, but there's usually one or two people in every workshop that you can tell this was a life-changing thing for them, and I like being part of that. And The Presence of Absence is by Harriet Bart. She's created this book that I begin talking about this book in terms of the box that holds the book, because the box has the titles right there, but it's printed in black ink on black paper, this navy blue, very close to black book cloth on the box. So right away, I think by looking at the box, you have a hint of the importance of absence, because it's kind of receding into absence. And the book itself is this object that is very traditional in some ways, made of paper, made of leather, sewn with thread, but also glass. It's got glass covers. And it is a pretty substantial book, but it's just one poem, a prose poem, that is here on, actually the same poem is on every page of the book. So page 1 is the same as page 2, is the same as page 5, is the same as page 100. Same text. There are always new ideas out there, and even when Arthur or I think we've seen every possible amazing thing, next week someone will come in and show us something else they've done, and that will just blow us away as well. And it kind of looks like, at first, you're looking at this and you think, well, I can read it right through the cover. That's pretty neat. It kind of looks like it's printed in this golden brown ink. But what the artist has done is actually, she's had the text removed with a laser. So what you're reading is actually the negative space. So in some ways, this poem is physically absent from the book. You're reading the negative space of what's left after the laser does its job, which basically is burning right through the paper. I think it's a pretty magical moment when you open up the book and start turning pages and realize this poem about the importance of absent is not even there. It's gone. And it's a very personal experience too. So it's also a little different for me than watching a movie, which is a very usually there with a lot of people. But with a book, it's pretty personal. It's right here. It's generally something that you, the viewer, are operating. You're holding it. You're turning pages. So it's a very personal experience and very close to you, literally.
So even though you're the director, you wouldn't put yourself above janitor?
Oh no, I was just scraping like goop off the floor the other day. If it drives me crazy long enough, I'm gonna get down there and do it.